Hey, this is John Howell here from officialjohnhowell.com. That's officialjohnhowell.com. And in this week's podcast about motivation, I'm actually just going for a nice walk right now at the moment. It's around about 5 o'clock in the morning. And just getting a nice walking because I got a big day with the kids. And especially taking my oldest son Curtis, taking him to the hospital because I think he's got a cyst on his neck. I think we've got to get an ultrasound done on him. So I wanted to do this podcast for you today because I'm half asleep, but I was thinking about it as I'm just on my walk right now, just to get my head right for the day. And normally I do a run in the morning, like I go for a run, but today I thought I'd go for a walk and do a podcast for you and share some of my thoughts as I'm going through. So in this week's motivation podcast, let's talk about why I believe most people fail in life, in anything, I think. And it's not to say that I'm perfect and I achieve everything that I want, but it's to say that right now I achieve above average results to most people when it comes to my health, when it comes to my freedom, when it comes to a lot of things, okay? So let's actually talk about that now. I believe, first let me just say that I believe a lot of people can start to achieve a lot more in life if they start to use this aim too high and be happy to miss principle. Okay, aim too high and happy to miss principle. What I mean by that is this. I was talking to a friend a little while ago. His name was Matt. And Matt's just recently getting into the whole stock market. He's getting really excited. I'm showing him some stuff. I'm giving him my DVD courses and stuff like that. He's gone through all that and he's getting so excited about it. He's still very close-minded. You know what I mean? Like, he's still very, very close-minded. And what happened was, he's like, you know what, I've got to set a realistic plan. I've got to set a realistic goal, and realistic this and realistic that. And you know what I say? Throw the realistic word out the window. Seriously. Like, seriously, what is realistic? Like, realistic, what is realistic? Well, I'm telling you right now, if we had that, let's set a realistic plan. If everyone was thinking like that, then our world would not be as it is right now. The technology we use, the ground we walk on, the path I'm walking on right now as I'm just going for a walk around the block from my house. So that's with that whole thing there. He says, I want to be realistic. You know what? The first thing to achieving above average results is be unrealistic. Be unrealistic. And people are like, oh, John, are you serious? No, be unrealistic, but have expectations. But have your expectations where you say, you know what? Even if I don't achieve this result, I'm happy where I'm at. For example, I was talking to Matt, okay? And Matt said, okay, I want to set a realistic goal when I first start trading the stock market, and I want to make $10,000 in the first year. I said, okay, that sounds like a pretty good goal. And it seems like it's achievable. You could do it. And I said to him, but are you thinking too small though? He goes, no, I'm being realistic. And again, there's that word, right? Realistic. Who cares about realistic, right? Realistic doesn't really matter in anyone's mind, because what is realistic? Like right now, I'm going through a really hard time in my relationship status. And what I thought was realistic was that me and the family would be together forever, right? But that's not realistic, okay? What's unrealistic is, hey, there's a chance there. Hey, there's a chance that we could be a family again. Makes sense? So anyway, I don't want to talk about that, but I want to talk about more about. So we've talked about being realistic, okay? And if you use that word, I just want to be realistic. That's another word for I'm too scared to set my bar too high, and if I don't hit it, I'm going to feel like a failure. So therefore, they're too realistic, and therefore they don't achieve anywhere near that they're potentially capable of. So set an unrealistic goal, and what you're doing there is you're saying to yourself, you know what? Yeah, I'm aiming pretty high right now, Instead of saying $10,000, why don't you say 100 grand? Put it out there and just see what happens. Put it out there to the universe, put it out there to God, talk to God, pray, take action, really work hard on it and make it work. And so what you need to do, what's important I have found anyway, as going through life, you say, you know what, I'm going to aim for the moon, but even if I get the stars, I'm okay. Make sense? So I'm going to aim for the moon, but even if I get the stars, I'm okay. So most people say, you know what, I'm just going to aim for the top of the house. You know what I mean? It's like, well, John, that's realistic, right? Because my first step is to get to the top of the house. And then I might be able to, you know, get a jet and fly into the sky. And then from the sky, I might be able to jump out there and have a big parachute, or not a parachute, but you know what I mean? And then I might be able to get to the stars. And when I get to the stars, then I might be able to start seeing the moon closer. And then I can see it. And that whole, you know, and please believe, you guys, you know, as you're listening to this right now, please believe that I'm much of a student. I'm more of a student than I'm a teacher. I'm teaching you guys some things that I've learned, but I'm more of a student than anything else. Okay, so it's not like me saying you do this, you do that, and I'm better than you, because no one's better than anyone. I've found that over the last 10 years I've gone through what I've gone through. No one's better than anyone. Who cares about how much money and what sort of status you have? You know what I mean? But all I do say is start setting an unrealistic goal. But have the courage to step up and say, you know what, this is my goal, right? Set an unrealistic goal. So say, you know, my goal right now is not to make 10 grand extra this year. My goal is to make an extra. Now there's unrealistic goals, there's aiming high, and there's being stupid. You know what I mean? So unrealistic goals and aiming too high, or aiming high, should I say, they're sort of the same thing, right? So for example, most people say, oh, I want to trade the stock market and I want to make $5,000 in the first year. Well, that's a realistic goal, right? And that could be achievable. What's unrealistic and what's aiming high, you know, they say, no, I want to make an extra $30,000 this year from the stock market. Now, I'm not saying you got to do that, but that's now setting high, right? Especially if you've made no money in the market at all. That's now setting what we call an unrealistic goal, but aiming high, right? But aiming high is not a bad thing. Aiming high, say, you know what? I might be aiming for 30,000, but even if I get 15,000, or even half that, or even if I get 10,000, wasn't it better than my first 5,000 that I thought was realistic? Makes sense? You know, Donald Trump actually put a book out a while ago saying, think big. And honestly, and I'm guilty of this as well too, is that not thinking big enough. Only looking in my little shell of what's happening around me and thinking small. And I encourage you, and this is I'm much a student as a teacher, I encourage you to start thinking a lot bigger on what's happening in your life right now. So back I was saying before, you've got your realistic, you've got your unrealistic, and your aim high goals. Okay, unrealistic and aim high goals, go for that. Go for that. But you know what? Accept the fact that even if you don't, if your goal is to make, for me right now, it's to make $1 million this year. Why? Because I have a goal right now to go over to South Africa in Uganda, is to find out what they actually need over there and actually go over there. Instead of giving to charities and stuff like that, I want to go over there and I want to start building schools. I want to start building places and start building wells and all these different types of things that they need. Now I don't know what they need, but I'm going to be flying over there to find out exactly what they need, and I'm going to be starting that up. So I've set now, like I've never made $1 million in 1 year for me personally. But so to me, my brain says that's unrealistic to make $1 million. But to me, if I aim to make $1 million and I only make 700 grand, 800 grand for the year, am I complaining? No, I'm not, right? But if I say, oh, I want to make $400,000 this year, and if I hit it, then I'm happy. It's like, no, let's be unrealistic, right? Let's be unrealistic. If you're unrealistic, you can build things that fly in the sky even when people say you can't. When you're unrealistic, like for me, so many people told me that I couldn't remove my cancer naturally when I did, right? And so obviously I did. So let's go back from, and I know I'm going around in circles here, so bear with me, okay? So we've got the realistic goals, which the realistic goals is like, I'm too scared to set something big and to not hit it, okay? I'm too gutless to actually try to do more than what I think is possible. And so that was that. But then you got the unrealistic and setting goals high. Thinking big is going to help you grow, it's going to help you expand, it's going to help you move forward in a big way. So, and then you've got being stupid. Okay, so let's just say, okay, realistic goal, if you made no money in the stock market, might be $5,000 or $5,000 extra for the year. That might be your realistic goal, as an example. Okay? An unrealistic, and also setting the bar high, aiming for the moon type thing, might be an extra $30,000 for the year, right? Because if you've made no money from the stock market, and an extra $30,000, you know, is a good start for the first year, right? Then you can build on that year after year. So that's unrealistic. And what's being stupid is saying, I want to make $1 million this. I want to make $1 million this year from the stock market. Does it make sense? So you've got realistic, unrealistic, and aiming high, thinking big. But then you've also got, being stupid. Being in a place where you think, you know, I'm being a bit silly with this thing. You know, if I haven't made any money and I'm not trying to make $1 million from this thing in the first year, well, I've got to set it back a bit, okay? It's good to actually have that long-term view if you want to make that. But all I say is I'm talking a lot about figures here, about money and stuff like that, and I'm not going to guarantee you at all that you're going to make any money from the stock market, because I'm not going to go down that way of giving advice right now, especially on this podcast. But I'm just trying to get you to open up your mind and thinking a bit bigger. What area in your life right now are you saying, you know what, I'm thinking too small. I'm thinking too small. What do I need to change what do I need to change to get this up and running? What am I thinking too small in? And then obviously your actions need to lead your goals, because you can't say, okay, I'm going to set an unrealistic goal. I just walked into a spider web. I'm going to set an unrealistic goal, but then not put action into it, okay? So all I do say is that, and I'm guilty of this sometimes as well too, I'm just saying, what area in my life, like, is it relationships? Is it finances? Is it the type of status you want, as in the way people know you? You know, like, for me, I've wanted to always just to be there for a provider for my family, okay? And that's the reason why I started the stock market in the first place, to be a provider for my family. And once I could do that, then I sort of stopped for a while, right? And my income sort of stopped at a particular level. But now I've got a much bigger goal, right? Now I'm saying, instead of feeding myself, I went from feeding myself to feeding my family to now feeding and building and helping and encouraging millions of other kids and people out there in South Africa. So by having that something else to encourage you, it's going to help you, inspire you to actually going to try to take on that unrealistic, set the bar high, think big, go. This is John Howell here. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you want more information about investing or weight loss or business or even just some God devotion messages, because I do believe in God, so if you want some God devotion messages, head on down there, check that out. And yeah, I hope you just enjoyed this message. All right, have a good week, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this. And at the end of the day, that thinking big is the way to keep expanding and growing your atmosphere. But at the end of the day, I do say this: don't keep your eyes on the money. Keep your eyes on family, because family is number one. And if you don't have family and you're not happy with them, I'm telling you right now, you're not going to be happy. All right. So this is John Howell here from officialjohnhowell.com. I hope you have a great week. I hope you've been enjoying yourself. If you have any questions, leave them in the question box below, or send me go to the contact us page at officialjohnhoward.com and I'll be happy to help you out. Remember that success can be yours if you go claim it. So step up, take massive action, and face your fears today.